Hello.
Welcome.
Today we're gonna talk about
Martin Luther King Jr.'s
speech. I don't know if you know it. It's kind of cool.
It is called
I Have a Dream. I have a dream. And we're gonna just stay here, casual chit chat. If you want to grab a cup of coffee or a little
Get
snack.
a snack.
While you looking at this beautiful and inspirational video, do it
Now.
Do it now or never.
Yeah.
The speaker is as we all know,
Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
The receiver is the black nation as well as the west of the country to make some changes.
Yes.
He speaks on behalf of the whole black nation
as an inspiration and a motivation for the whole nation to come together and be one. If you want something to be done, you have to do it yourself.
Nobody. You can only trust yourself.
Trust yourself. Trust nobody. We got a view.
Elvira is coming soon.
Elvira is soon be joining us. Once again.
Yes.
And there was Elvira.
Welcome to the show, Elvira.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Okay, hey guys, so today we're going to talk about the circumstances of the Martin. Shut up, guys. Okay, so the speech was held at the
Lincoln Memorial
at
Washington, D.C.
The speech was held at the March on Washington for Just Freedom.
Martin Luther King Jr. uses paces to support his points in the speech.
An example of this is when he talks about his children and how he wants them to grow up in a world without any racial differences.
Furthermore, Martin Luther King Jr. uses words like freedom, justice, and liberty. Those are really strong words, and they have a positive ring to them.
Oh, didn't see you there. Martin Luther King uses a lot of metaphors in his speech. An example would be quicksand of radical injustice, which means quicksand isn't something you would like to be in, and that is a very negative metaphor because it just sucks all the justice down. Another metaphor would be palace of justice. The word palace make the word justice seem even bigger and nicer because a palace is very big and nice and justice is a very strong word, and combine the two it makes a very big metaphor that people can relate to because justice is something everybody wants.
So now we have Malua live from St. Hans Torv.
And she would like to tell us about
some sentences, and she's gonna tell about what the words and stuff in the sentences mean.
So,
take it away, Malua.
Thank you, Sarah. Now I'm going to analyze two quotes from our speech. And the first one is, "Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred." He has a very hopeful tone in his speech, and in this quote he uses very loaded words, such as freedom, bitterness, and hatred. And these words come off as powerful in the context of the speech. The quote is a metaphor, and he speaks of not using violence and hatred for the sake of freedom. He says this metaphorically by making it a cup of bitterness and hatred, and he also talks about wanting freedom as a thirst for justice. The words he uses contrast one another because they're all loaded but in different ends of the scale. Freedom is hopeful and it is a hopeful and happy word, but when put in a quote alongside bitterness and hatred, it works against one another, but at the same time making the quote even more meaningful and catching. The other quote is, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of the character. And in this quote, he has a very hopeful tone, and he wants his children to grow up in a world without injustice and racism, which is what they lived in at the time. Again, he uses deep and big words such as judgment, content of character, and dream. These words are, on the other hand, happy and hopeful words. And he uses pathos to, in the way that he reaches out for emotion and talking about family and children living in a world of injustice.
Thank you, Malua.
For that input.
With
Oh, hello there again. The way Martin Luther King Jr. promote his speech makes it very reliable. For an example, when he puts the pressure on the important words in the sentences, for an example, we will never be satisfied. When he does that, it suggests that he really means what he says, and that's make the audience believe in his speech. Cancer!
Yeah, Jack. That was all for this week's episode of Speech with Us. See you next week with a new episode of Nelson Mandela Speech.
When Nelson Mandela... Nej,
Famous. Today we're going to talk about the Nelson Mandela.
Already have
Nelson